Last time they were here, the folks from Warren and Griffin, C. Mark and John Mark, were telling us things to do and to not do if you're involved in a car crash. And we're here to pick up on that list. C. Mark, good to see you, brother.
Good
John
to see you,
Mark,
sir.
y'all doing okay?
Good.
Absolutely.
Last time, just to recap, we got through about a statement to the insurance company. Big mistake, not hiring a lawyer. Third mistake, failing to get medical treatment. We're going to pick up kind of where we left off, and that's failing to get medical treatment because you don't have health insurance or you can't afford it.
Sure. One of the benefits of being a local lawyer for over 30 years is we have developed relationships with healthcare providers throughout the city.
Sure.
Doctors, physical therapists, whatnot, and so they will see our clients without the need for health insurance. Basically, we sign a document that guarantees their payment.
And also, Chip, if you have an emergency situation at the accident scene, the emergency room is going to see you. Whether you have health insurance or not, if it's an emergency, they're going to see you.
What's the rule of thumb about getting treated, even if it is, in your mind, a minor crash? Because it seems invariably it'll be 3 days after the crash where you start feeling things in your neck or in your back or what have you. It's always a good idea, right?
It's always better safe than sorry. And really, if you feel different several days after an accident, where you wake up with neck pain or you go to bed with neck pain, it's always a good idea to get it checked out, to document your injuries, because that's the way you show the insurance company or show a judge or show a jury how much you're hurt in a car accident. If you don't go get checked out for your injuries, the injuries did not happen.
And in that vein, if you have visible injuries, one of the next things we need to talk about is you need to photograph those injuries. We want to document those injuries in some way, shape, or form. Broken arms, cuts, lacerations, bruising, abrasions. It's always good to document those for your case as well.
Now, what's the high side of that? I mean, it may be stating the obvious, but it's proof, but there could be another underlying reason why we need to do
Absolutely. Well, the most obvious reason is the reason to document your injuries. You know, the lawyer's job is to make sure the insurance company pays you a fair amount of money. We're not after a pound of flesh or an eye for an eye. Our job is to make sure the insurance company treats you fairly. And so we need the information, the medical records, the medical charges to put a value on the case as far as what is fair.
A lot of times we have talked about folks who are on the receiving end of calls to other insurance companies. A lot of times they're not very well trained. They're automatically taught to say no right off the bat, and they go down a little chart, and the answer is always no.
And some of them are very well trained, Chip.
Sure.
They know what questions to ask. They know which buttons to push, you know, when they're taking statements.
They do not want them to hire a lawyer, so they'll do everything they can to put them off. And sometimes by saying no, 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 a person just gives up. Just gives up.
All right, next on the list, obviously taking pictures of your injuries, your personal injuries, is a good idea. What about taking pictures of your car? And the other person's car?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. If you have access, we can take those at the scene. It's good to take photographs of not only your vehicle, but the other party's vehicle. Now, if it's an emergency situation or you can't be safe doing that, don't do it. Safety first.
Sure.
But documenting the property damage is important.
We actually have an app, a Warren and Griffin app you can download to your smartphone. And if you're involved in an accident, you have so many things going around in your head, it's good to have a checklist of what you need to do at the accident scene. The Warren and Griffin app has that checklist, and one of the checklists is taking photographs of the damaged vehicles.
And this app, I would imagine, like you said, it doesn't matter how big or how little of a wreck you're in. You're not yourself, and you're not thinking clearly.
You don't know what's going to be important necessarily. Follow the app. It helps document the accident, document injuries, document what happened. And there's a couple other things, Chip. You know, sometimes we forget about witnesses at the scene, that the police officers don't always get their names.
Right.
So getting names or phone numbers, if you're able to do that at the scene, that can be very important as well.
Okay, let's say we've done all that and the other person's insurance company or your own sends you this nice big check, so you think, in the mail. What should you do with it at that point?
Well, if you've not gotten a lawyer involved and you get a check from the insurance company, every lawyer in town that does this sort of work takes phone calls for free. I mean, we'll take phone calls all day long about someone with a question about an insurance check. Just to make sure, because sometimes you might get two checks. You might get a check for property damage, which is a separate claim, and a check down the road for your personal injury claim. all day long, lawyers will ask questions over the phone, answer questions over the phone about the insurance check. They'll ask about whether or not they had any sort of medical treatment. If a client calls me or someone calls me 6 months after a wreck and they did not get medical treatment and they're good to go and they're calling me about a question about an insurance check, I'd say go ahead if it's for it. Every claim has got a value,
Sure.
even a nominal value. So a $500 check, a $750 check, a $1,000 check, just for nuisance value, if you have no medical treatment and you're back to full speed, I'd say go ahead and cash it, as long as they've taken care of the vehicle as well.
Because you're entering a certain legal area once you cash or deposit that check.
Oh, absolutely.
And Chip, what you're going to receive with those checks, you're going to receive a release. And what C-Mark and I are more than happy to do for the community, if you have those checks and you have that release and you have a question about it, we are more than happy to look at that check and release free of charge for somebody that hasn't hired an attorney.
Yeah, and we do it, but also other firms in town do it as well. I mean, we're all in this together to make sure the insurance company treats everybody right.
Right. And a lot of times, though, again, before you get that check in the bank, and it can be tempting to do.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
It can be very tempting to do, but once you sign that check and it is in the bank, you're saying you don't have any more guilt. You're
Right.
off the hook.
Yes, it releases the party from everything.
And a lot of times it's not in your best interest.
That's
A lot,
correct.
exactly.
All right.
And they'll get to you as quick as they can.
Yeah, I'm sure of that. All right, how do we find out more about this app that we can download to the phone in
It's
case of a wreck?
Basically, go to the App Store and type in Warren and Griffin, and it'll pop up. It's free. And
Simple
it'll
as
download.
that.
Simple as that.
And of course, today being Tuesday, you could come down and take the Don't Text and
Oh,
Drive
Chip,
pledge.
You're all over
You're
it.
right
Yeah,
on
it's
it.
right.
Yeah,
It's the
absolutely.
first Tuesday of the month, and so we have the prize wheel come down to the. We have new offices. We're in the 6th floor and now on the 1st floor as well.
Same building, just,
Same building.
just
Same
the
building.
reception area's on the first floor.
On the 1st floor, and so if you're scared of riding the elevator, we're on the 1st floor. The wheel will be there. Come by and take the pledge.
Here's how you can find out more about Warren and Griffin. Check out the website. It is warrenandgriffin.com, warrenandgriffin.com, and the phone number 265-HURT. That's 265-HURT. See,
Thank you,
Mark,
sir.
always a
Appreciate it,
pleasure.
man.
John, Mark,
you,
good
Jim.
to see
Certainly
you.
appreciate
We'll
it.
see you guys here in the coming weeks, and we will see you on the other side of this commercial break.